The Sumerians, a civilization that rose to prominence thousands of years after the Ice Age, when agriculture slowly started to become more widespread and sophisticated. We often regard the Sumerians as being the first civilization in the world, starting around the beginning of the 4th millennium BC, when the hunter-gatherer communities around the Fertile Crescent started to urbanize. This mainstream theory has gone heavily unchallenged the past 100 years, until recently. Many more recent discoveries, such as Göbekli Tepe, have disrupted the academic world, challenging its core belief system as to when the dawn of human civilization actually was. But sites even older than the infamous Göbekli Tepe have been unearthed and have been even more heavily scrutinized. Sites such as the alleged Indonesian pyramid, which is claimed by some archaeologists to be over 10,000 years older than the Great Pyramid of Giza. (1914) The Indonesian island of Java. 134 kilometers south of Jakarta, Dutch settlers are the first Europeans to stumble across an ancient site, initially believed to be a monument that consisted of old stones on top of a massive hill. Years later, it was dismissed as nothing but an ancient graveyard with tombstones made of volcanic rock that were knocked over after centuries. It wasn't until 2010 that Danny Hilman Natawijaja, a researcher for the Indonesian Institute of Sciences and Caltech graduate, would discover that this was something much more different. Having his suspicions, Hilman made note that ground structure was nothing like the surrounding topography. Wanting to further investigate his observation, he took a team of researchers out to conduct fieldwork and advanced surveying methods such as using ground-penetrating radars and seismic topography techniques. Both methods are commonly used by archaeologists and geologists alike to help them better understand the Earth below us, especially to see if there are any irregularities. These two tests made Hilman realize that he was actually, in fact, not on a hill. Man. Okay, alright, I'm sorry, I apologize. Anyways, these two tests made Hilman realize that he was not on a hill. Instead, the site he had been investigating had been a pyramid that continued to be built up over 1,000 years. Today, we know this pyramid and megalithic site as Gunung Padang. Not only is Gunung Padang shrouded by much mystery, but so are its many builders. As the wise and mighty Shrek would say, the site itself is like an onion, having many different layers to it. Each layer was built by a different group of people, adding onto the structure after its prior inhabitants. The most recent layer is suspected to have been built around 600 BC. The layer under that was dated back to being built around 4700 BC. The fact that the time period between those two most recent additions is almost as much as the time gap between modern times and the building of Egypt's Great Pyramid of Giza is crazy to think about. But the craziness doesn't stop there. The layer built in 4700 BC was an addition to an even older layer that Hilman and his team were unable to date back to 10,000 BC. Now, just you hold on right there. There's even more. Underneath this layer is an even older one. It's the core of the terrace pyramid itself. This dates all the way back to 25,000 BC. The core is even suspected to have been built around a cave system that was discovered and potentially inhabited by an even more ancient people. Onions, man. Experts have taken in all this information lightly though, especially considering the fact that the oldest core of the pyramid is dated back more than 11,000 years before the rise of Mesopotamian civilization, which is widely considered to be the time period and region of the first human civilization. They also doubt Gunung Padang's authenticity as being this old due to the cement mix holding together the stones. The mix was found to be composed with silica, clay, and iron. This insinuates that these various builders over the years possessed the knowledge of iron melting, a skill that wouldn't become widespread until 1200 BC, long after the reign of the Sumerians in Mesopotamia. But does this mean that an unheard-of ancient civilization couldn't wield this skill set? The theory that Gunung Padang was constructed long before the Great Pyramid of Giza and was built using iron melting techniques that predated the cultures of the Iron Age is enough to shake up our knowledge of when the earliest known civilizations existed. In addition to this, the provided information by Hilman and other archaeologists who have studied this site would clearly imply that the builders of the second latest layer of the Gunung Padang and their predecessors would have been the earliest known civilizations to exist, much longer before Sumer. The aforementioned conclusion is what makes the academic world skeptical to accept new ideas and possibilities like so. Imagine you spent decades of your life teaching students and writing thoroughly researched articles and/or books. Then all of a sudden, your life's work and much of what you know is absolutely thrown out of the window due to new findings. Well, this is how many of the experts in this field are feeling, and why they are so slow to accept or even consider new revolutionary findings. One fair point of a skeptic that was brought up, though, was the bone tools from 7000 BC. They were found roughly 45 kilometers away from the site. How would it be possible that a tribe not too far from Gunung Padang was still using tools that weren't that advanced relative to their alleged pyramid-building neighbors? We may unfortunately never know, though there is likely more hidden evidence of this potential civilization and surrounding tribes buried in the rich and lush rainforest. There may even be more evidence in other nearby places, such as the bottom of the ocean. The Indonesian island of Java, where Gunung Padang is located, was once a part of a large interconnected landmass called Sundaland. We still use the term Sundaland today to describe the biogeographical region of continental Southeast Asia and some of the surrounding islands such as Sumatra, Java, and Borneo. This once giant landmass began to submerge around 16,000 BC and continued to do so until about 5000 BC, when the sea level rose nearly 160 meters higher. This would mean that the early builders of Gunung Padang would have been a part of Sundaland before it submerged. Many secrets could lie in the depths of the ocean floor around the island of Java. While further studying the Gunung Padang, all we have in the meantime is what's in front of us now. Whether or not mainstream archaeologists and scientists want to take the present advice with a grain of salt is up to them. It may be hard for them to believe that this great structure predates the Great Pyramid of Giza and even implies a settled society nearly 12,000 years before the existence of agriculture. There is absolutely no harm in us exploring deeper into these implications, though. Hopefully one day, we will uncover more information about this magnificent and mysterious site and be a bit more open to the possibility that ancient human history is not how we make it out to be. But in the meantime, please like and subscribe so we can keep growing this channel and making more videos. Thank you, and we'll see you next time, only on Amateur Archaeology.